Sarah, vacationing with your wife is so outdated. We've just accepted it from our parents and grandparents, but the modern world has its own rules. Everything is different now, Michael, 30, argued with frustration. Don't exaggerate, his wife replied, waving her hand dismissively. The modern world has nothing to do with it. It's all about individual preferences. Some couples enjoy relaxing together, while others prefer to unwind separately. I'm trying to reach a compromise here, Michael said with a smile, stepping closer to wrap his arms around her waist. Compromise on what? Sarah feigned innocence. Come on, don't play dumb. You know exactly what I'm talking about, he snapped, irritation creeping into his voice. Of course I understand. We've been living under the same roof for 7 years. For 7 years, we've been a family, a single unit, so of course we'll vacation together, as we always have, Sarah replied with a smile. This year, we wanted to go to the sea in early September. What's changed? Nothing, right? Yes, something has changed. I got a new job, joined a different team, and my salary has doubled. Doesn't that count as a change? Yes, it certainly does, darling. I'm proud of you, Sarah said, planting a kiss on his cheek before continuing to put away the laundry. This company has a completely different vibe. It's filled with young managers and a close-knit team. Most of my colleagues are single, and even the ones with families don't miss out on fun, Michael explained. They all take vacations together. You get that, right? No, I don't, Sarah shrugged. What's unclear? I'm going on vacation in August with my new team, the guys from the office. Alex, the director, is coming too. Then you can take your vacation in September and enjoy yourself without me. Why not take your mom or mine with you? He laughed. Should I just go with my director too? Sarah asked playfully. Go ahead and try, Michael said, feeling hurt, but he quickly added, let's discuss this later. Michael never brought up the topic again, and Sarah assumed their conversation had reached a dead end. So she was taken aback when, one day after work, she found a note on the kitchen table. Honey, don't be upset. I didn't want to argue, so I kept quiet until the last minute. I went on vacation with the guys. I'll be back in 3 weeks. It's an all-male team. If you doubt me, you can check with our office. Love you. Miss you already. You're Michael. Sarah read the note multiple times, feeling no tears but growing increasingly angry. If her husband had been there, she would have given him a piece of her mind. How could he do this? She thought, feeling a sting of betrayal. The timing couldn't be more perfect. While I was at the hospital for a day, he packed his things and essentially fled. Unexpectedly, exhaustion from her shift overcame her, and tears began to fall. She was genuinely upset. Since Michael switched to a new company, he had changed significantly. She knew her husband was easily swayed by others and often tried to be someone he wasn't in new social settings. Michael was eager to impress his boss and please his colleagues, showering them with compliments and support. He frequently made grand gestures, like bringing in coffee for everyone in the morning or buying pastries from the nearby deli. Sarah knew that her husband preferred to stay in the background. He valued his privacy and cherished silence. Yet he still went out of his way to please others. She understood this, but why did Michael do all of this without considering his family and loved ones? Now, in his quest to impress his team, he had easily deceived and hurt her. Sarah decided she wouldn't put up with this any longer. She needed to teach him a lesson, though she wasn't sure how. Fortunately, clarity soon came her way. That evening, her mother called. As usual, she was wrapped up in her own problems and completely oblivious to her daughter's mood. She asked Sarah to come to the dacha the next day. Honey, the electric boiler in the bathroom is broken. I bought a new one, but they're only installing it tomorrow, her mother sighed. Sounds great, Sarah replied flatly, her mind elsewhere. Great, but my plans have changed dramatically, and it's not easy to find a repairman willing to come to our dacha. Out in the middle of nowhere, her mother continued. Mom, do you need something from me? Just tell me, I really don't have the time, Sarah said, eager to end the call. Yes, honey, I need you to go to the dacha and wait for the installer. Can you help? Knowing it wouldn't be easy to dissuade her mother once she made plans, Sarah reluctantly agreed. Tomorrow was Saturday, with nothing pressing on her schedule, and there was no one to cook for at home. She thought it might be nice to spend some time in the woods, stroll by the river, and even stay overnight. The next morning, Sarah arrived at the dacha an hour early. She brought groceries for herself and decided to prepare a meal. After that, she cleaned the floors and watered the plants, intentionally keeping herself busy to avoid being alone with her thoughts. Michael had already called multiple times and sent around 24 texts that morning, but Sarah ignored them. She had no desire to talk to him. It was difficult, as she wanted to express all her grievances, but she held back. Exactly at 11 o'clock, as planned, a strong young man in his 30s arrived, John, the boiler installer. It turned out he was a jack of all trades. Not only did he handle the boiler installation quickly and efficiently, but he also repaired the latch on the door and oiled the hinges. While working, they chatted about various topics, and then John suddenly asked, "How are you feeling, Sarah? You seem upset, like your thoughts are far away." She appreciated that John had noticed her distress and decided to share everything that had happened. "Well, that's not very manly," John sighed. "I don't mean to offend your husband, but he shouldn't have left like a thief." "Exactly. You hit the nail on the head," Sarah replied, her voice rising with emotion. "He waited until I was gone for a day, packed his things, and just disappeared. I work as a nurse in the intensive care unit. It was an exhausting shift, and all I wanted was to come home and share everything with him so he would sympathize with me. But instead, I got home to find he had run away." Tears welled in her eyes. "Don't cry," John said gently. "Everything will work out. You'll be fine." "No, it won't." Sarah shook her head. "I can feel it. I was hurt, then offended, and now I just feel disgust. He calls and texts, but all I can feel is disgust." "Yes, I understand. That can happen. What do you plan to do?" "Probably I'll get a divorce. We never managed to build a family. But first, I want to show him how painful it is to be treated that way," Sarah said thoughtfully. "Do you have a plan for that?" John asked, surprised. "Yes," she smiled. "If you're willing to help me, you could play the role of my husband." "In what way?" John was puzzled. "I'll explain everything. Let's go have some tea." Sarah invited him into the kitchen. 3 weeks passed in the blink of an eye. Tomorrow, Michael was set to return home. During this time, his wife hadn't answered his calls or texts, but he continued to enjoy his vacation with his friends until the very last moment. "Well, what's she going to do?" "Nothing happened. I was just relaxing with my colleagues." A corporate retreat, so to speak. If she doesn't believe me, she can ask the office. She won't go anywhere. She'll just get angry and then forgive me, Michael thought. However, upon returning home, he sensed something was off. The realization hit him immediately when he couldn't unlock the door with his key. After fiddling with the keyhole for a while, the door swung open to reveal a stranger in a t-shirt and shorts. "Who are you looking for, young man?" the stranger asked. "What do you mean, who? I live here. I'm Sarah's husband," Michael replied, bewildered. "No, I'm Sarah's husband," the stranger shot back. "Her ex-husband left with his things a month ago. He abandoned her." "What are you talking about?" Michael's anger flared. "I didn't leave my wife. I left a note in the kitchen." "Classic move," John said, raising a finger as if making a point. "Pack up, leave a note on the table, and disappear while your wife is away." "Where's Sarah?" Michael demanded, irritation growing. "She's still asleep," John smirked. "Sleeping? And you're wandering around the apartment in a t-shirt and shorts? Excuse me," Michael exclaimed, setting his suitcase down as he tried to push his way inside. But John, taller and stronger, easily blocked him and slammed the door in his face. Standing outside his own apartment, Michael felt lost. Tears stung his eyes, and he quickly wiped them away with his sleeve. With no other options, he headed to his mother's place. That evening, Michael's mother called Sarah, followed by his sister, and he kept sending messages asking for her forgiveness. But Sarah had no interest in speaking with them. When John called, however, she answered immediately. "Are you still tormenting him? Maybe you two can make up? You should have seen his face when I left your apartment today," John chuckled. "You know, I don't want to reconcile anymore. I'm seriously considering a divorce," Sarah sighed. "Are you serious?" "Yes, think about it. Michael has no idea I staged this whole situation. He genuinely believes I brought another man into our home while he was away. Yet despite that, he's begging me to forgive him and let him back in. He wants to come back so badly that he's willing to ignore the betrayal," she sighed heavily. They talked for a long time about various topics until they finally said goodbye, both needing to wake up early for work the next day. As Sarah fell asleep, she reflected on how much she enjoyed talking to John. Perhaps their meeting was meant to happen. The next day, as she approached her house after work, she spotted John's car and smiled. She walked over to him, and soon after, she filed for divorce. It went smoothly as the couple had no children.